Yo, what's up? How are you? Ni mko vipi? Welcome to this Mental Wealthness Podcast brought to you by Basic Needs, Basic Rights Kenya. In conjunction with CBM, Narcissisms, and I'm your presenter, Squishy the Poet. And I'm with two beautiful ladies from the Mental Projects. Watajiintroduce. Yezi lamba skari hapo, kila mtu ajitetee kivyake. Tuanze wapi? Left or right?
Left.
Hey, watu wanajishuku hapo, wataki kuongea bana. Let's start with you, Nadine, because you have glasses, you're seeing clearly.
Okay, there is not a reason at all. But anyway, hi guys, I'm very pleased to meet you all. They're good, extra formal, but anyway, I'm Nadine from the Mental Project, working with Basic Needs, Basic Rights Kenya. And we're going to be talking about drugs and substance abuse.
What about your introduction? Imekuwa refu. We just wanted introduction. Back to you, Nish. Make it short and clear.
Oh, I don't think it was long enough. Would you like me to extend kidogo? And I just squish and I can make it long. I can tell you more deets. Anyway, move into that. Yes, Nish.
Hi guys, I'm Joy Kamau, but I love being called Nish. Yes, I'm from the Mental Project. And as I've been saying, I love data science and I'm a health informatics student. So today we're going to be talking about drugs and substance abuse.
Na kwa ground, back in the studios, wacha niwarudishe nyumbani, ni Squishy the Poet. Na leo sasa tunaongelea madre, yani madrugs. Tunataka kujua mbona watu wanatumia madrugs, is it useful? So we will be discussing. So welcome, tell a friend to join if you know someone who is using drugs, why is using. It is interactive, let's communicate, let's share. And so leo na wase wangu wa Mental Health Projects with my ladies. First of all, let's start. Do you know drugs?
Yes.
Mnajua drugs?
I mean, najua, but then Nisha najua.
Najua drugs.
Unajua drugs gani? Unajua drugs ziko tofauti. Unajua drugs gani?
I know a lot.
You know a lot.
There are many types of drugs. Medically prescribed.
Chineke. Atuongelee. We understand you are a doctor.
Health informatics.
Health informatics. We are not talking about those drugs. Ama pia chai tunajua pia ni drugs. Lakini we are talking about these other drugs. Do you know them?
Nadine, enlightening.
Nadine,
Kuna pombe, kuna bangi, kuna nicotine. Nicotine?
Nicotine. It's a general word, so tuambie kwa nicotine kuna nini?
Tobacco. Kuna cocaine.
Umaitumia gani?
Kuna meth. Kuna mimi nishaitumia psycho kwa sijaitumia.
Hujaitumia yani? Wewe ni wale wa chai. Na unatumianga za hospitali ama unatumianga gani? Hebu tuambie Nish, unatumia gani? Chai.
Nish anatumia morphine.
I'm on milk.
Milk? Surely is milk a drug?
No. She'll take you only on medically prescribed drugs.
But we're also talking about substance abuse, so I think it can also encompass alcohol, as I mentioned, because I noticed we're saying drugs.
Yeah.
I don't think many people consider alcohol a drug. So yeah, but like on a more serious note, we do have alcohol. We have the hard drugs like cocaine and meth and the rest. Then we also have things like nicotine, which is found in tobacco, and it's the addictive component. We also have the common one that most students I'm sure have had, although Nisha natuambia ewa na kunywa maziwa, we have weed, which comes in various, I hear kuna flavors.
Sasa unajua
hizo zote.
Kabla hata hujaanza kwa flavor, you need to know weed has many names. You get mavijana unajua you can be talking about weed and people vijana wanajua weed ya shamba, unaona? Weed ya shamba.
Kama mimi nadhani ni weed.
Lazima explain watu ndio waelewe vizuri. Watu wanishi wajui kina nishi, mnajua watu wenye wamezaliwa Lavington wawezi kuwa wanajua hizi story. So
Squishy.
msichana anajua drug ni maziwa. Alafu lazima tumfafanulie
tutafuatilia after this.
Alafu mwambie tu weed. Anashanga what's weed. So weed in other name unaweza ita vela, kisawe unaweza ita marijuana. Another name unaweza ita nini? Medication, people use it. Mavijana wanazitumia.
Lakini sikuishi nikuulize, hii weed iko na majina mengi sana, which means a lot of students use it.
Yup.
Why is it that a lot of students use it?
That's the question lazima to discuss hapa. Like that's why
hata apart from hizi zingine weed inatokea sana.
So wacha niwaambie hiyo ndio kitu tunaongelea kwa hii podcast. Thank you to Basic Needs Basic Rice for bringing such a wonderful space. Na sasa lazima tujue kwa nini watu wako addicted, mbona wanatumia weed. Mnanipata? What makes someone get addicted? Mimi personally nimekuwa na mabeshto wanatumia these drugs. I've seen people using.
Have you used them? Squishy, have you used them?
Tusikue personal. Hao watu wa Lavington wametumia maziwa sana.
Like, I'm not sure.
Kwanza ujui weed.
No. No, Lisa, have you used these drugs?
It's a personal question. Lakini we'll find out by the end of the podcast. We'll find out.
I'm sure that I think there shouldn't be shame around having maybe used a drug or having maybe taken alcohol.
Yeah.
But I think the issue comes in your own life journey. Where is the place of these drugs? And that's why I'm really curious. Why is it that mastude wengi wanatumia hii weed?
Hiyo ndio swali ya kwanza. Mbona mastude wengi wanatumia?
Then maybe we can now talk about the other issues.
You see, I also think it's not bad to have used these drugs. But very easy drugs, I don't think they're actually bad. They're bad when they're not used in moderation. So having used the drugs is not a bad thing.
In short wanasema in moderation, kama huwezi manage usitumie, ama mnajaribu kusema aje?
If you're using them in moderation, it's okay.
Sasa wacha tuanze kwa nini watu hutumia kabla tujafika kwa moderation, kabla watu wajaanza kumanage. Why start? Juu mimi hadi nimeona madem kampo bana wamekuja, mtoto mzuri, mtoto ameumbika, amevaa, mtoto wa kanisa, unaona dress anavaa inafika kwa miguu, unapata? We have joined, you have seen this kind uko chini yani Chineke.
I'm asking a question.
The beginning of the month with that mindset.
Should I leave you two ladies continue to solve this fast alafu tuendelee?
Let's go on.
So like venye nilikuwa nasema, unapata msichana first year amekuja, unapata ajui hata bangi ni nini, ajui pombe hata inaonja aje, yeye amekunywa ni Holy Communion. Unacheki kidogo labda anapata mwanaume first year, second year, third year amemdanganya, mistari mzuri, mwanaume akacheat, akambreak up, akaenda kwa nini? Kutumia drugs. Hiyo ni reason number 1 yenye mimi nimeona. Wewe umeona tuambie kwa nini Lavington watu hutumia maziwa?
Squishy fast, I'm not from Lavington.
Unatoka wapi?
I'm not from
Maluko drugs ni maziwa. Ulisikia wapi? Ati drugs ni maziwa.
I just love milk. Yeah. But okay.
Mali watu wanakunywa maziwa. Have you seen them? You've seen like drugs. Yeah. You have seen them using.
Yeah.
Drugs gani sasa?
Mention them. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Nini ingine?
Also, I love it when people only take alcohol. So,
Hey.
Both of you, you're just attacking me with the rampant.
Wadau.
okay, but that's
Sikupenda kwetu.
You know, like most people here, and okay, our age mates, the reason why they use drugs, okay, come first year maybe huko najua kuhusu hizi vitu zote. There's this word called spirit of adventure, and I will put it in quotes because it's not the meaning. Adventure yenyewe tunajua ni kwenda out traveling and all that, but there's this thing you want to explore.
Explore, that's the word. Keyword, explore.
Yeah. So ukikuja huku, you're from a very strict home, why you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. So when you come here, unachangana na wase wengi, people who have been introduced to such things. So you also want to taste and ujue alcohol inaonja aje, ukivuta weed nitakuwa high hadi wapi na get. So that could be one of the reasons why you start doing these drugs.
Exploring.
Yeah.
Hiyo ni reason number 1. Wewe, back to you.
I think I'll pick up from where Nish left. I think an important thing to note is that after exploration, we don't automatically get addiction. But the problem comes in when this person explores without knowing what exactly they're getting into and the full risks and all the things that they need to take into account and start using a particular drug. So maybe someone ataanza kusema mimi sijakunywa pombe, acha nikunywe. Anakunywa, but they don't know their capacity when it comes to dealing with stress. Because just as we discussed earlier, if you're someone who does not cope well with stress, hauna good coping mechanisms, when you get introduced to these things without putting everything in its place, you end up with now the addiction. Because it's very possible for you to take weed for the first time and then not take it again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or to not get too much involved in weed-related activities. Lakini sasa shida ni ukianza pia kuchukua drugs zenye unafanya exploration na vitu kama cocaine, unafanya exploration na vitu kama meth, all these really hard drugs that get you hooked very fast. So unaingia hapo now, it's very hard utoke, very very hard. So I think just picking up from what Nish said, ukienda kufanya so-called exploration, you need to really know what you're getting yourself into. You need to understand your mind properly. Ndio ujue what are the risks za ukweli, because sometimes tunafanya hizi vitu juu ya peer pressure, tunajua kitu itani affect tunafanya.
Just a little bit kabla tujafika kwa hiyo peer pressure, is it right to say the risk that our parents wametupitisha ile, labda watu juu venye umesema hivyo, tunaweza sema watu wanakuanga kwa prison fulani, labda wamekuwa in the risk ile, wamekaziwa na wazae wamekuwa kwa ile prison, alafu sasa venye wana join campo wanaona like I'm a free bird, wacha ni explore.
That's connected to what I've said, because unaona wewe umekuwa in this protected environment yenye all decisions are made for you, you told what to do. Ukiwa na stress, mami na daddy they come in, lakini now you're in university, uko free, hujielewi bado. So unajua unaanza kuchukua pombe, maybe you had some trauma, so hii pombe the first time you take it and you get drunk, unasahau, si ndio Nish? Si ndio skishi, unasahau. So this becomes a new reality for you, because hapo maparo amekuweka hapo ati my baby, mayai
my princess,
my princess,
kunywa maziwa,
sijui nini, watakunywa maziwa. So when you come to uni and you want to start exploring things, unajipata pabaya sana, because wewe mwenyewe you've never gotten a chance ya kujielewa.
Sasa mnapata wasikilizaji, like wewe umezoeshwa kunywa maziwa nyumbani, maziwa ukiingia kampo unapata
mvinyo,
like maziwa is not the only drink,
kuna mvinyo kali.
So wadau, from that exploration, what extent can it go? Tumekuwa part of this journey, like we have seen people starting this journey. Kama mimi nimwambia kuna msupa fulani mimi najua, like personally, if you come to like drama, like first drama and festival in universities is another level. Like I've seen ladies, they are drawn, like they are drawn into alcohol, weed and so stuff. So let's explore this journey, like how
you see, like what you're talking about exploration, just as I said, ukianzia ku get to know about something, and then we are in an age from 18 to 23. That age is quite sensitive, by the way.
18 to
23. That is a very sensitive age, because that is where we make life decisions, some of the life decisions. So at that age, you don't know who you want to be. You don't know who you are exactly. You're still trying to identify yourself. So explore. Kuna vitu mingi you come kama you only live once. YOLO, such things. Is that YOLO? Is hii maisha ni once. Tujibambe. Then there's this thing about the midlife crisis. So there's a lot of things you're getting from people. Do you see that? So as much as you're trying to do these drugs, so with that fun from people, such words from people, you get to want to know more and more. And the more you're trying to get to know more about these things, the more it's dangerous.
Tunakupata very loud and clear. Like, it's kwanza tumesema watu wana explore living a life, having a life. Through drugs watu wanasema they're having a life na wana explore. Na venye wanaanza hii safari, the more it gets dangerous, ndio? Lakini kuna other reasons yenye watu wanatumia drugs. Unget? Kuna sasa wale wa peer pressure. Ulikuja personally. Umetoka Kisumu, Nyabondo. Kuna Nish ametoka Lavington. No,
one more time squishy.
Okay. I think when it comes to that peer pressure thing, we need to be realistic. First of all, we need to understand that a human being, dependent to sipende, they're going to explore. They just have to. Yeah. So I think it's better not to tell people not to explore, but it's better to tell people to learn from other people's mistakes. I like using this example because I think it's really helpful. Let's say, first of all, everyone knows addiction is bad. Hakuna mahali addiction is good. So I think when we're getting people into university, we should give them that knowledge about, let them know what happens if you get addicted. Then we let them know hizi drugs zingezifanya kuwa addicted automatically, for most people. We start from there. Then secondly, we move on to these other things. Hizi zingine zenye kama alcohol, blah blah blah. I think it's very good if we teach people proper drinking culture. Sasa ukitaka kukunywa, you just do it in moderation. We normalize that. Unaona? Instead of telling people usikunywe because sundio. And then also vitu kama weed. Okay, this is usually also very sensitive. I've actually just opened a document here. Vitu kama weed, and there are also some other drugs. People really argue about them not being harmful, which is okay. I don't think, but people also, there's a lot of research out there about why these drugs are harmful. So we're in this place scientifically penye tuko katikati ya maji. So in that case, it's good if you reason out with people and tell them, wewe mwenyewe, the scientific community, watu bado na debate, kila mtu ako na opinion yake. It's best if you just leave it alone if you don't really need that thing in your life, to be honest. Because unajua kuna hizi people want to explore hear people talking about other worlds in drugs, psychedelics and all those kinds of things, but you as an individual, are you really sure your exploration at what cost will it come? Unajua kuna mtu atafanya hiyo kitu sawa, that's good for them, lakini wewe umekuja shuleni kusoma, you have your family, you have your goals and all that. Why are you taking these drugs, So I think we also need to let people when putting them into university, kila mtu akae chini afikiria, what are my goals when I'm coming here, unaona? So that hata mtu akisema mimi nataka kuchukua weed because sijui haina effects, hiyo time unatumia kuchukua weed, is it really aligning with your goals as an individual, unaona? So another very important thing is to try and find help people wakuwe na hiyo individuality, wajue ni nini wanataka. Exactly. Because unajua ukiexplore, as Nisha said, exploring, si ndio squishy? Exploring inaweza kuwa mimi nataka kukua, let's say I want to be a health informatician, si ndio? Exploring could also involve going out for safaris. Exploring could also involve kwenda museum. Exploring could also involve doing an extra course. Unaona? It's all about kujijenga pia.
You see, when we say about the goals what you're talking about is very correct, but there's this part of every human being. Yes, you can be focused on your goals and everything and all that, but there's this part of your social life that needs to be taken care of. Do you see that? Because me being focused on getting a PhD in this, making sure I have a different course in this and this, all that, I can achieve that, but there's my social life. This part of my social life is what is not taken care of by most education systems in Kenya and our parents. Because back in high school, for those who are peer educators and to Kisama life skills, the word was say no to drugs. Actually, we had bags for that. Say no to drugs. But I wish we were not told to say no to drugs. We were told the reason why we are saying no to drugs, it's because if you take drugs to this extent, it's going to make you this and this. You see that? Or if you take drugs at this, if you take it in moderation, it's not bad. Because having to tell people that this thing is bad and it's bad and it's bad, that is why most people want to explore. So and part of your
and I agree with that, but part of your goals peer should also be emotional goals.
Yeah.
I did mention that, but that should also be one of the goals that you should have.
Wadau, mnakuja na solution na bado hatujakonka ma problems zenyewe kabisa. Situmalize reason kwanza umebring reason fiti kwa ile story ya mtu anatoka Bondo anapatana na mtu wa Lavington na mtu wa Lavington anaamua kumspoil. Tunaweza kwanza kuna hiyo middle crisis, somewhat mentioned from middle life crisis. Have you ever thought that people who are taking drugs are escaping from some reality? Maifikiria kitu kai
like most, if you're going through a lot of problems and you won't forget about that at that point, and you take drugs, you get high, so you're in a different world. You forget about it, and you're able to sleep that night. But the issue is you didn't face your issues there. You didn't face reality. You just took drugs and they helped you sleep that night. I must spend the whole day without you being stressed. So what happens is, you're not facing the issue from the root. So assuming I'm having an issue with maybe a childhood trauma, and I'm not able to get over it, but someone had introduced me to drugs and it's really helping me, because that is what I think. Because nikitake alcohol ama nikivuta weed nasahau kile nilifanyiwa, unaona. But now I will get dependent on that weed. Every day I'll have to take this weed for me to feel comfortable in life.
That's another thing that people really forget.
No, the more I'm taking it, either it's weed or alcohol, the more I now get addicted to weed. So I create another problem from a problem.
And in fact, it's almost like exactly what you're saying. You're like transforming hii problem ya kwanza to another problem. Because the real issue niyo umesema I had a challenge. So to escape that trauma, you start indulging in this other
weed
thing.
Weed and alcohol. That's what I'm saying. All these things, sometimes instead of us escaping reality and our issues, can we just face things from, my mother, my father did, or something happened to me and I need to face it. As much as I feel so weak and I'm unable to do it, I need to seek therapy.
Exactly. And I think another aspect of being emotionally aware is also knowing, am I really doing this for recreation, or am I doing this as a form of escapism?
And escapism, what you're going to use to escape something, that is self-harm. You're harming yourself.
Exactly. Very
that
good
is
point.
Self-harm.
It's self-harm. Because your wound inaendelea ikikuwa mbaya huko ndani, inaendelea ikikuharibu, inakukula pole huko ndani.
And these are the people who can't sit in a place where maybe if it's a childhood trauma and maybe it's now your father used to be so bad to you, and then we are seated maybe doing psychodrama and talking about it. Those are the people who walk out from such discussions because they can't really face it.
And every time that ghost is brought up, unakuwa haunted again.
Napata now. I know the listeners are getting you quite well. So tukimalizia, unajua wacha tuambie tu kweli, most of the men ndio wanatumia hizi drugs. Lakini siku hizi wasichana, this other gender, mna compete na sisi kila kitu. Sasa mmekuwa hadi hatari. Lakini
I think it's more helpful for us to just approach the issue as an emotional issue instead of really bringing in the concept of gender, because you know what happens, it also stigmatizes females who don't want to get help. The same thing that happened in mental health. Look, nasema women are emotional, blah blah blah. So when people realize that this is a human issue, not a gender issue, men were left so far back behind.
And now when addressed, they feel as if
exactly like right now, even if a woman has a problem with the drugs, boy and ni normal too, but them, you're spoiled, you're a hoe, so I think it's better to just address it in terms of emotional
and that's why we were rapping like at this, like we have to agree on some things. People are mad at reality, those who are tunakubaliana na hiyo, si ndio? Na kuna wenye wanasema tiko kwa uko, they saw maybe the grandpa, grandma. What can you advise them on that? Like, ukipata msea kuambia iko kwa uko.
I think many traditional things have a psychoanalysis, and for me I feel that, there's this thing that happens subconsciously. So babako akiwa amelewa, of course your habit is something that you're probably going to grow up seeing. So some people, let's say, have two brothers, mmoja labda atachukia pombe, mwingine ata-adopt. So I think that it can be, but I'm not so sure about the spiritual aspect. But that thing of problems being carried from generation to generation is true. And there's also some people who have genetic predisposition to addiction.
So, in conclusion, how can we just, a quote, how we can help somebody to fix addiction? Or what can you tell that someone who hasn't used drugs, or that someone who is using drugs and it's in the ako ile vacha anataka kuacha kabisa?
Okay, for the people who are using drugs, who haven't started using drugs,
tuanze na wenye wajatumia fresh.
I wouldn't recommend for you to start, but if you really feel you want to start, please do it in moderation.
In moderation.
Yeah, and for those who are in drug, substance and abuse and all that, I would love to say, if you're doing it, just try and identify what's your real issue about it. Because I feel like maybe it's self-esteem, loneliness, or you're escaping something. So try and get what's your real issue.
Okay, for me, I'd like to say that, first of all, face yourself. To anyone who's listening to this, face yourself. As someone who's also struggled with a lot of escapism, the best solution is always to face yourself and ask yourself, why is it exactly that I'm doing what I'm doing? Is there something that I'm running away from? You need to face these things head on. So I won't tell you don't do drugs. I won't tell you do drugs. I won't tell you this is a good drug, this is a bad drug. All I'm going to tell you is that if you're taking that drug, make sure all the wounds you have within you have been healed or are in the process of healing. If you're doing something for recreation, make sure it's for recreation, not because you hate your life and you're trying to run away. If you hate your life, that's fine. Seek help, and there's help out there. So just remember that you need to face yourself and you need to also love yourself. So usifanye kitu itakuharibu mwili. As Nisha said, escapism is a form of self-harm. I wish you all the best.
Thank you guys for listening. Kitu ya maana venye umesikia from these beautiful ladies ni kujijua, kujinao. Understand what you're facing, understand what you're taking, so that kufix isikuwe ngumu. Unaweza chukua vitu complex ikakushinda kumanage. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter at Basic Needs Basic Rights. Follow us on Instagram, Basic Needs Basics Rights Kenya.
And also follow the Mental Project at Nidin and the Mental Project on Instagram. Thank you very much.
At
CBM UK as well.
Na CBM Kenya. Pia nifuate mimi, your poet. Ishi the poet. Instagram, Twitter, hapo YouTube. Na mtoto wetu wa London from Lavington, Miss Kamau. Unajua kwa nini anatumia maziwa ka drug. Thank you. Next time
we'll talk about something else.
Hapa, the same place.